Today on the show, what's up with USC's defense? I'll try to tell you guys a little bit later. Troubled waters ahead. And then later on, I'll give you guys my Dirty Dozen games to watch this weekend. And then my top 10. All right, guys, get set. Time to dig in. So, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever you guys are listening, however you guys are listening. Appreciate you guys tuning in, taking a listen. It's the Sports Mules. I am your host, Eric Kiner. And so today what we're going to discuss a little bit is the issues that the USC Trojans defense has kind of been running into, not just this season, but it's kind of been a build-up the last couple of years. So we'll get into that. First of all, we'll start off with some numbers because this is a math channel, in case you didn't know. So to start off the season, we've given up 28 points to San Jose State. We've given up 14 to Nevada, 10 to Stanford, 28 to Arizona State, which doesn't sound too terrible. We still scored in the 40s, but it never felt comfortable. It wasn't, we didn't kind of break away until the fourth quarter. And then the last 2 weeks, we've had Colorado 41, up big, and then the second half, fourth quarter, couldn't hold on to it. Guys came back. Colorado, Coach Prime out there had those guys ready, and they came back again, just showing kind of the struggles we've been having. And then last week, 41 points again, down 17-0 to start off the game. They needed 3 overtimes to get to win, and really only won because of a bad play by Arizona at the end. So starting off the season, it's just a continuation of last year. Not really great. Clearly holes, clearly problems that were not addressed, still haven't been addressed. And the rest of the season, it does not get any easier. This was the first half of the season, 6-0, was the easy part. The remaining games that we have, so the final 6 that we have here, so this week, a game that I will actually be at, super excited, at Notre Dame, which is the 21st ranked team in the nation. And then after that, we have Utah, which is currently 16th. Cal, which is, I'm looking at it, is probably the easiest game the remainder of the season. And then we have Washington and Oregon, which are currently 7 and 8, play this weekend as well. Sneak peek for this weekend, one of the games to watch. And then we end off with UCLA, which is a rivalry game, and you never know. So we're 6-0, but we might be the worst 6-0 team defensively in the nation. And it's not just defensively, there's still some other problems, but the glaring issue is defense. So kind of we'll discuss a little bit of, where are we now? How did we get here? And what do I think needs to be done? So I'll give you guys a little background on me before you go, who the hell is this guy and why should we pay any attention to him? So I coached college football for a decade, mostly on the defensive side. Love the sport. Love everything about it. Love the energy, love the brotherhood, love the camaraderie, love the fan interaction and the alumni interaction. It's an incredible sport, and I think it really exemplifies some of the great things that are great about this country and about sports in general. But that's a little bit of my background as far as football goes. So if you don't like it, too damn bad. So we'll get into the kind of where are we now. So currently the defense is coached up, and the defensive coordinator for the Trojans is Alec Grinch. And, I can't say too much about the man. I mean, he is a defensive coordinator coaching for several years at the FBS level, and a defensive coordinator for the past, 6 years or so, 7 years or so. And I'm just some guy sitting in his living room talking on a podcast. So there's only so much I can say, but, I don't want to criticize people too much. I know that he's doing his best, and he's doing his due diligence every week to get these guys set up. But at the end of the day, this is life, and people get criticized. We all get criticized. And, you're in a service performance-based industry. And, when things aren't adding up and you're not performing the way you want or needed and expectations aren't met, like in any business, sometimes it's time to pay the piper. But so for Alex Grinch, in 2018 he was the co-DC and defensive coordinator and the safeties coach at Ohio State. From 2019 to 2021, he was with Lincoln Riley at Oklahoma as the full-time straight-up DC, also coached the safeties, and then last year and this year continue with Coach Riley as the DC and safety coach as well. And this year, right now, we are currently giving up about 264 yards a game passing, about 157 yards a game rushing, so 421 yards a game total. And we're giving up about 27 points a game. But that number is basically thankful to Nevada and Stanford giving up 14 and 10 and 2 28-point games in there as well. But the last 2 weeks, giving up 41 points a game kinds of shows us trending in the wrong direction. And then the remaining second half of the season with the just difficult opponents that we have to go up against, so that number will probably go up as well. So it's not just the scheme and the play that's giving up these yards, but we're also giving up about 6 penalties, 50 yards a game in penalties. So we're giving up half a football field every week just in penalties alone. Third down conversion about 39%, which puts us about 68 in the country. Fourth down conversion percentage about 57%, puts us about 85th in the country. And then red zone scoring is 94%, or 117. So essentially, what that's saying is if you get to the red zone, one way or another, you're going to score. And we're going to give up some yardage and some points. So, not great. Not great. And this is just a continuation of the second half of last year. We've just rolled right into it, where at the end of the season, we got Trojans were able to get a great win against Notre Dame. That was probably the best that the defense has played in a very long time against a great opponent. UCLA gave up a ton of points, held on to win. Top 4 in the college football playoffs going into championship weekend. Go up against Utah, Pac-12 championship, and just get completely exposed. Losing that one, out of the college football playoff, still make it to big bowl game, get to the Cotton Bowl, go up against Tulane, and again, just get exposed and lose that game. There is still nothing worse than seeing Caleb Williams, phenomenal young man, phenomenal athlete, Heisman Trophy winner, possibly could win it again this year, but watching him on the sidelines and that face, knowing his defense was probably not going to hold up and they were not going to win, and then just watching the defense just get walked backwards the length of the field and then score with a few seconds to go, and Tulane wins the game. And nothing against Tulane. Tulane, phenomenal year last year, incredible turnaround, amazing coaching staff, amazing athletes, totally deserved what they got. But again, it just shows the glaring issues that the Trojans have had for quite some time. And that goes to kind of how did we get here? So for Alex Grinch, he has had these issues for quite some time, right? Even when he was at Oklahoma. And everybody talks about how incredible of an offensive genius Lincoln Riley is. And he is. And how they're scoring 56 points a game. Well, they have to, because the defense is giving up 55 points a game. So they have to score those points. This happened all the years that we're at Oklahoma. And this has happened last year, and it's happened this year as well for the Trojans. So it's a problem. And it's a known problem. And Coach Grinch, the thing that baffles me and amazes me is that he coaches the safeties as well. And when you watch USC games, the safeties seem to be the most erratic and confused of the bunch. Guys are running free. Guys aren't picking up who they're supposed to pick up. Guys are just blazing through the secondary. And again, you're being coached by the defensive coordinator. And if anybody should know exactly what's going on, it should be those safeties. And safeties should probably know what's going on anyway, because they are one of the key leaders on any good defense, right? They see the whole field. They see the whole lineup. They can scream down. They get people lined up. They can tell people what's going on, who's going where. And for these guys to just look lost the majority of the time is just unacceptable. I'm sorry, but it is. It's just unacceptable. And Lincoln Riley has now proven in his head coaching tenure to truly be that offensive genius that he was talking about, that everybody thinks he is. He's shown that he is. It's real. But his inability to find a DC is clearly an issue. And I know that he loves to call his offensive plays, and I know he loves to draw them up, and I'm all for it, right? Shanahan does it for the 49ers, right? He's the head coach, he runs the organization, but he's still scheming up and calling the offensive calls. Great. He does it. He's if you can multitask like that and you have that ability to do that and you can give other people in your organization the responsibilities to take care of the other things, fantastic. But Shanahan also gets incredible DCs and lets them do their job, which lets him focus on this. But, you know, I would say to Lincoln Riley, you know what's going on. You've known what's going on. At some point, you have to do something that's best for you, for your kids, for the program, and for the school. Because these kids, every week, are coming out here and practicing their hardest, doing everything that they can. And to kind of do them a disservice like this, it's a little disheartening. And I don't know if you guys can hear this, but right, I'm not a boomer, but I'm older, and I need my notes, otherwise I'll forget things. So going into kind of what do we need to do to change some of this? So I've been extremely fortunate in my years as a coach to work with incredible staffs, incredible coaches, amazing DC. I still think, I know I'm biased, I still think he's one of the best DCs in the nation. But there's some things that he taught me and that I've learned through the years as a coach, and especially as a defensive coach, that you have to be able to do and have to focus on. So some of the things that you need to do and need to be fixed is you have to have a great plan, great game plan. Say that 3 times fast. Going into any game, obviously, nobody half-ass prepares for the week and just says, "Oh, we'll wing it when we get there." But that all comes into film study. You have to watch your opponent, see what they're doing, see what they have done, what things that you need to either add, change, or create. And if you're not doing that to start off the week, and if you're not doing that during the week, Saturday is going to be extremely difficult for you, right? Saturday should be the easy day. You should have worked so hard during the week and prepared so hard at every practice and every film session and every meeting that when Saturday comes, you're just executing it. And that's the easy part of the week. And I'm sure they're doing that. But the other things that I have yet to see in the years of watching this defense, not just at USC, but also at Oklahoma, years of watching that, you have to be able to make adjustments. You have to make quick decisions, and you have to do it on the fly. That's during the game. You have to make your halftime adjustments. You can't just go, oh, we have to blitz more. You have to know when to blitz. More importantly, you need to know who do you need to have blitz, who's coming, where are you bringing these pressure from. But again, it all comes down to quick decisions, and you have to make adjustments. And I don't see a lot of adjustments being made. It's just the same defense that's out there. Maybe a guy moves, maybe a guy gets bumped over, maybe somebody goes one-on-one or covers somebody else, but that's about it. Not a lot of adjustments going on. Needs to be more pressure up front. to help out the secondary. Any great USC team of the past has usually had two things, right? Super effective quarterback play, right? Always it's historically a great quarterback, receivers, and running back university, right? Heisman Trophy, just look up Heisman Trophy winners for USC. That's all you need to say. But the key part to any of those good teams as well has also been a solid and imposing defense. We do not have that now. Guys up front are getting some pressure, but they're not getting enough pressure. There's not enough movement. There's not enough stunts. There's not enough secondary blitzes coming in here. Most of those pockets, although they may get moved, are not really collapsing. And I know that somebody's going to come into the comments, which is fine. I encourage it. Please comment. I believe they have the most sacks, or second most sacks in the nation. How many of those have really come in the last 3 weeks? And everything that we have going forward. I would honestly say at this point, I think we have seen enough. We've seen enough. And it's time to go with a new DC. It's time to go in a new direction. We've seen these struggles for years. We've seen these issues for years. And they seem to only be getting worse. We started last season, Trojans started out better on defense than they were the year before, but as the season went on, got worse. And this year, it seems to just be a pickup from the end of last year. So something definitely needs to be made. Decision needs to be made, and something going forward to get this figured out. Because, like I said, at some point you're just doing a disservice to everybody else. Is putting in all their time, energy, and effort. These incredible student athletes, these young men who came to you and said, I'm giving myself over to you because I believe that you're going to make me a better athlete, a better person. And when those things don't seem to be happening, like I said, you're doing them a disservice. And those are some of the things that kind of irritate me. So we'll find out this weekend. I'll see it live and in person. So we'll see how things go this weekend. Hopefully better. But we'll see. And it's not all on the defense, right? Offense still has struggles. We still need a little bit better offensive play, maybe some bigger guys up front in the offensive line to give Caleb Williams or any quarterback going forward a better opportunity. Thank God he's such an incredible athlete that he can scramble out and make things happen, but at some point he's not going to be there, and you're going to need an offensive line that can hold up on this. So we need a better offensive line. We need a little bit better running back and receiver play. That's a little bit up and down, although improving. Still a little bit up and down. And, the special teams has a lot of problems as well. There are issues abound. We might not even have gotten to overtime last week had we been able to get the field goal off. But a field goal to win the game was just completely botched. And that's unacceptable. There's the play in that game as well where there was a punt and the ball's rolling around and you got 4 USC players literally trying to pick up an Arizona player and throw him into the ball. Not knowing that that's a rule that you can't do anyway. So, it just looks like there's no attention to detail. So, a lot of things to be cleaned up anywhere, but obviously the defense is the most glaring issue and hole in all of this. But fingers crossed, better weekend. All right, so let's get into my top 10. So again, this is my top 10. It is purely based on what I have seen, what I've interpreted. If you have a different top 10, if you have a different opinion, please feel free to leave a comment and let me know what you guys think is going on. So right now, here's my top 10. I'll go from 10 and I'll work my way up. So number 10, my beloved Trojans. For now, again, the only 6-0 team, to win and move back almost every week in the AP top 25. A couple weeks ago, we were number 4 or 5, and now we've worked our way back down to 10 because of just playing the field. Like, see, people, voters, and everybody just don't have enough trust to get it done. 9 and number 8 are kind of a mixed bag. They can go either way. I have Oklahoma at 8, Texas at 9. Again, could easily be swapped. But for Oklahoma, we're still unsure. Right? They beat Texas in a very close rivalry game. Right? This is their big rivalry game. Beat them very closely. Rivalry games, anything can happen. Right? You both have two very good teams. Two teams that are very similar. In that atmosphere, anything could happen. Oklahoma comes out with the win. Top 10 team? Yes. Where I see some people having ranked, maybe not. And then for Texas, again, right, they lost a close rivalry game in that atmosphere. Things happen, but I would say Texas falling as far as they have and me having them at 8 or 9 is probably about right, because they have shown the last few weeks since the Alabama game just moments of not everything clicking, right? And they just need to be more consistent, and they weren't consistent this past weekend, and that's part of the reason they came away with a loss. So Oklahoma and Texas, 8 or 9, you could flop them either way, and I think it'd be okay. Number 7, I have Oregon. Still a great offensive team, very solid on defense. They really have some dudes up front, and we'll find out this weekend exactly what's going on. Number 6, I have Washington. They are probably one of the closest, most complete teams that I've seen this season so far. So I think they're ranking at 6 with who I have ahead of them. I think it's a solid one. But Washington, Oregon, 6 and 7 this week. They're what did I say? 7 and 8, somewhere around there. Let me look through my vast notes. See what I have here. Yes, 7 and 8. I remember numbers. I told you, it's a math channel. So 6 and 7. Again, we'll find out this weekend. Who's the big dog in that conference and going forward. Number 5, Florida State. They've been more consistent the last few weeks. They started off the season against LSU, big hype, a lot of energy, a lot of stuff going on, but then have been, again, moments of offensively, I would say, more offensive than defense, but they've had moments of not clicking, not firing off. So if they're more consistent, I think, and they play that. When you've seen them at their best, if they play that way going forward, I think they can be a very challenging team to get it out with. And, if they're undefeated at the end of the season, it's, and the rest of the team ahead of them are undefeated or have one loss, it may be a very difficult struggle to not have Florida State in that Final Four for the playoffs. Number 4, I have Penn State. I would have to say they're probably the most complete team in the country. Washington is close, but Penn State is probably better. That defense is just stifling. Just stifling. Unbelievable defense. The offense, when it's clicking, I mean, it is tough to stop. It is tough to stop. You just have to hope that when they make mistakes or when they're not quite ready to go yet, you have to make the most of your opportunities. But again, that defense is unbelievable. So Penn State is going to be a tough one going out, and especially when you have 2 and 3. So these two are kind of interchangeable as well. So I have at number 3, I have Ohio State. Number 2, I have Michigan. Michigan, they are solid on offense, solid on defense, do have these moments of, brain farts where they just forget that they're actually at a game and not doing skelly practice. But again, when they are firing on all cylinders, and special teams as well, that is a very difficult out for anybody. It's tough to get a win. And as usual, it's going to come down to two games. It's going to come down to Penn State and Ohio State. And Ohio State defense is just saving the day for them right now. The offense, even with all these weapons, but the one kind of glaring question going into the season was, hey, what about this new quarterback coming in? And he has struggled at times. He has looked like he was not ready for prime time. That Notre Dame game kind of really exposed some of his weaknesses. And then last week against Maryland, kind of the same thing. There was moments where it looked like he was not ready for the task at hand. And luckily he's got an absolutely amazing offensive line. He has just dudes all over the place at receivers and running backs that can kind of pick up some of the slack or help him out. But that might be their Achilles heel. And then number one, Georgia. I know they've had their fair share of issues and ups and downs, but they're still the two-time defending national champs. They're still undefeated until somebody comes out and just proves all of us wrong. They are still, no pun intended, the top dogs in the nation. So that's my top 10. So let me know yours, what you think. And on to the next one. So finally, we'll finish up here with my Dirty Dozen. So my Dirty Dozen this week, we're going to stick with college since we've started with college topic this week. So we'll stick with college on this one. So my Dirty Dozen are my top 12 games to watch this weekend. So number 12, we'll start off with Miami versus North Carolina. Can Miami bounce back? Right? They gave away a win last week instead of just taking a knee, instead of literally doing what a play is called, the victory formation, and taking a knee for the win. They ran the ball, coughed it up, and then lost the game. So can they come back? UNC, again, I don't think they are where people thought they were going to be this year, but still, again, at home, difficult one. Miami, are they going to still be in their heads about last week? Can they come out and get themselves back on track? Number 11, Auburn versus LSU. For both of these teams, it's kind of a who's showing up? Who's going to show up? We have seen both these teams play absolutely lights out. And then we have seen these teams play as if they have had their lights out. So for both of them, who's going to show up? This one is a toss-up. But it's, SEC games this time of year, you never really know. But for these teams, we don't know who's going to be there. So it could be a hard-fought match to the end. Absolutely true. Can LSU come out and just destroy Auburn? Absolutely. Can Auburn come out and absolutely destroy LSU? Absolutely. We don't know. So who's showing up to this game? Number 10, Kansas versus Oklahoma State. Kansas, are you guys legit now, right? This is year 2 of this. Oh, hey, Kansas looks like an actual football program, not just a basketball school. So who are they? What can they do against an Oklahoma State that has been wounded at times this season? But it's never an easy win over them. They're always going to fight, and they're always going to get you. The second that you kind of dismiss them or forget about them is when they kind of come out and slap you in the face and remind you that their coach is a man, and he's 40. Although he's over 40 now because that was a long time ago. Number 9, Texas A&M and Tennessee. Kind of the same deal as Auburn and LSU. I think Texas A&M has started to move up in their performance overall as a team. But again, they have moments of dazing off and forgetting what's going on or trying to be too smart is what it really seems like. And Tennessee, I think people are a little bit disappointed in the season so far. Big expectations, especially after last season's performance. So this could be one that could, for both teams, kind of really catapults them going forward to finish out the rest of the season and their SEC opponents to kind of show the nation kind of what they have and who they are. So this one is a big one going forward of who can really be a contender in the SEC. Number 8, we have Syracuse and Florida State. I've talked about Florida State, where I think they are number 5. And Syracuse is always difficult, right? And they seem to give Florida State difficulties a lot through the years. So this is one of those games where if Florida State really wants to show that they are one of the top powers in this nation and they are serious, not only playoff contender, but national champ contender, this is the game they have to come out and kind of assert dominance and show who they are and have that consistency that I was talking about before that they haven't had at times. So that should be an interesting watch. Number 7, Michigan State and Rutgers. Michigan State, we've all heard about what's going on this season. Can they start to find a little bit more stability? Not just so they can, win some games and have a good season, but again, for those kids that have, made decisions to go there, they've stayed committed to the school regardless of everything that's going on. Can the staff and the program and the school and AD find some stability for these kids and get things going and get things a little bit back to normal for them? And then for Rutgers, their defense is legit. I saw them up close and personal a couple weeks ago against Virginia Tech. Defense is real. Offense still has some struggles. So this is another one where Rutgers, you should have the upper hand, right? Michigan State is reeling, not having a good season. Everything that's gone on with their heads are a little bit all over the place. This is your time. Now you got to come in here, right? You want to move up and be a legit program where you think you are. You'll get the birthplace of college football. Okay, well now it's time to play college football. So this is one of their games. If you want to be who you are, then you should be Michigan State. Missouri versus Kentucky at number 6. Kentucky, again, they are trying to transfer themselves into more than just, hey, we're more than just a basketball school. We can be legit contenders in the SEC. And there's been a lot of money that's been flown into there. I know the other day the head coach on his radio program was going off about, wasn't very happy with some criticism and donors, but when people are pouring in the money into your program to be winners for NIL or facilities or whatever it happens to be, and you're just still being an 8-4, 9-3 team, some people paying that money are going to get a little bit tired of being middle of the pack. So this is another one where they can come up against a tough Missouri team and show dominance and do what you have to do. So that's a big one this weekend, especially for Kentucky. Number 5, UCLA and Oregon State. UCLA and Oregon, they're both ranked. Probably one of the last times these teams will ever play each other, at least not for a very long time. But the Pac-12, this is it, right? This is swan song. Next year it's going to be the Pac-2, basically, until somebody else takes over the name or is just dead in general. So Pac-12 has had a great season so far for ranked teams, regardless of my entire rant earlier about the Trojans. These two teams need to continue to play well, finish this season strong. UCLA needs to show themselves going into the Big Ten exactly who they are and what they can be, and that they can contend and not be a pushover. And Oregon State still needs to show themselves and prove themselves to these other conferences and the rest of the nation. Hey, we're not just some throwaway school that you guys think we are. We deserve a little bit more respect, and we deserve to be somewhere where we are, shown to be a legit program, not just Oregon's little brother. So that's a big game at number 5. Number 4, I have Louisville and Pitt. Is there going to be a letdown? Cardinals, massive win against Notre Dame. Great upset, although for me going into this weekend, I was hoping for a top 10 matchup, but the football gods decided otherwise. But incredible win against Notre Dame. Now they have to face Pitt. It's almost similar to the Miami game, but at the other end of the spectrum, right? Miami was winning, completely blew it, lost the game. Are they going to be stuck with that and carrying that over? Louisville beats Notre Dame super high. Are they just thinking they're world beaters right now, didn't really focus, didn't really practice well all week, and then go in the game against Pitt and then have a massive lead down? So that's a big thing to watch. Number 3, as always, you'll find out through these shows, I love to tie Ohio State and Michigan together because it just irritates the hell out of both fans' bases. I mean, if you get a twofer and just piss off 2 groups at once, why not? Why not do it? But number 3, Ohio State and Michigan, both games this weekend. Ohio State has Purdue. Michigan has Indiana. Will they both dominate? Right? I had them at 2 and 3. That could be interchangeable. I know AP has them, they're both top 5, might be 2 and 3 as well. But you're playing Purdue, right? Purdue's Purdue. Nothing against Purdue, but they're not supposed to be, correct, at the same caliber as Ohio State. Same thing with Indiana, not supposed to be at the same caliber as Michigan, especially when they're top tier, fighting for a national championship every year, especially this year. Are they going to dominate, or are they still going to show some of those issues that we kind of discussed earlier? Offensively for Ohio State, is the quarterback still going to struggle? And for Michigan, are they going to randomly have points of the game where they forget that the game is going on? So we'll find out there. Number 2 game I'll be at this weekend, USC Trojans versus Notre Dame Fighting Irish. It is a rivalry game. Like I said, anything could happen. It's supposed to be a little bit colder, some rain during the week. I've seen some video of the Trojans doing some wet ball drills, which it's a whole other show. And who's going to show up? Again, Notre Dame, come off that just emotional crush of not only losing, but they got beat. Let's be honest. Notre Dame got beat last week. Where are they going to be? And USC, they have heard all week. They've heard all year. They've heard on this podcast, because I know they're all tuned in, about the struggles they're having, how bad their defense is, how bad their defense looks. Are they going to take, are they going to pull the old Michael Jordan? I took that personal. And come out this weekend and just dominate. So, super exciting game. Not only as a fan of both schools, to be honest. I know, don't come at me for that. But great rivalry game, great experience, great environment. Just, I'm super excited for it, but we'll see what happens with that one. And then number 1 for the week easily is Oregon and Washington. 2 top 10 ranked teams. Both of these, they're not only fighting for who could possibly be in the Pac-12 championship game, or they might face again in that one as well, but not only for who can be in the game, who has a possibility of winning it, and really who has a possibility of being in the Final Four college football playoffs and really competing for a national championship. I think Oregon cleans some stuff up. They really have a legit shot. Washington, solid team. They have it. But who's going to do it? This game is going to find out. This is a relatively, I think it's a 3:30 game on Saturday. So I'll be able to watch this one before my nighttime Notre Dame Fighting Irish versus USC Trojans game. But that's my dirty dozen for this week for college football. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. If you have some games that you're really super excited about, or ones that you think that should be moved up, please put them in the comments. Love to hear them, love to discuss them, and we go from there. Well, that'll do it for today's show. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Again, thank you guys for tuning in. I really do appreciate it. If you guys liked anything that I talked about today, if you thought anything I said was interesting or thought I was a complete idiot, please subscribe, please like, put some stuff in the comment here. Love to have a discussion with you guys. I want this to be a channel about us, for all of us, to really just enjoy college football and sports and regular football and just all sports in general, right? It's not just college football. This is all sports in general. But if you guys have anything that you want me to discuss, touch on, any topics, please leave them in the comment. I'd love to hear from you guys and go through more of that. But again, I just really appreciate you guys tuning in, and I want to make this for a journey for all of us to have some fun and just kind of break away from the madness that goes on in the world and just reset our brains for a little bit. But so put something in the comment. Let me know if you have any negative comments, anything you dislike. I'll save you the time and effort. You don't have to put anything in there. There's nothing that you can say that I haven't thought myself. Nobody hates me more than me. So enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy those games. And I will see you guys Next tape. Dig in.